Hi guys, my name is Thao Vo. I am one of the 3 registered dietitians here at OakBend Medical Center. And since it's the new year, I thought it would be the perfect time to start off the New Year resolution by talking about one of the hottest diet at the moment. The Mediterranean diet was recently voted #1 best diet overall by US Health News. It's actually been backed by a lot of scientific research in its ability to help prevent heart disease, lower blood pressure, prevent dementia and depression development, as well as reverse non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. But what exactly is a Mediterranean diet? So the Mediterranean diet is predominantly a plant-based diet. It focuses very heavily on eating a lot of dark leafy greens, whole grains, healthy sources of fat, nuts and seeds, beans and legumes, and herbs and spices. Animal proteins are encouraged in the diet in smaller portion, with the majority being coming from like fish or seafood. Fish and seafood are recommended to eat at least twice a week on this diet. Lean poultries like chicken and turkeys are recommended in smaller amount on a daily basis, and red meat is recommended to be limited to 1 to 3 times a month. Now, water is the main beverage that is recommended. However, some amount of alcohol is allowed. 1 glass of wine for women and 1 up to 2 glasses of wine for men is recommended. Now, the Mediterranean diet also has a big emphasis on fat as well, predominantly olive oil. Other sources of fat that are encouraged in this diet comes from your avocado, your fatty fishes like your salmons or sardines, and also all of your nuts and seeds. And as I've mentioned before, this diet had been backed by science to have a lot of health benefit, namely reducing the rate of heart disease. And it's also important to note that this diet is not a low-fat diet, but it had been shown to help with decreasing the rate of heart disease. Now, there is a potential pitfall to this diet, and as I've mentioned before, there are foods that are encouraged to be eaten in more frequency than others, but there is no mention about portion sizes. And so with a diet that is not low fat, over-portioning can cause an excess consumption of calories, which can lead to weight gain. So with that in mind, I thought that I should go over just some general portion size as a guide on how we should be thinking next time that we portion out our plate. With the Mediterranean diet being a little bit more heavily focused on adding healthy fat to the diet, I would go over fat first. Now, your fat is very important for your brain health, for your hormone health, and also it helps with micronutrient absorption. So your vitamin A, D, E, and K are fat soluble, and these would not be properly absorbed if you eat a low-fat diet. Now, as a healthy source of fat, as I've mentioned before, your avocado, olive oil, and things like that, a portion of fat is usually about a thumb size. Now, each portion of fat is a little bit more caloric dense than your carbohydrate or your protein, so definitely talk to your dietitian about how much fat you would need a day. For a portion of your starches, it should be about a cup full, or about a half a cup of any kind of grains. Now, with grains, I do want to encourage as wholesome as the grains as possible. So if you were to go for bread or pasta, go for whole grains. That way you're going to get more bangs for your buck nutrition-wise. As far as other sources of starch, think about your root vegetable, like your rutabaga, your sweet potatoes. Those things are going to be a lot more nutrient dense than anything that is baked with just white bleach wheat flour. And your protein should be about the palm size of your hand. Now, your palm size obviously going to be different than mine, but that's because everybody's needs is different. And it's also important to note that as I'm giving you all these tips about portioning and everything else, Everybody needs is different. So just because the Mediterranean diet definitely does show some health benefit, it does not necessarily mean that it will be the best for you. So the best way to figure out which diet best cater to your specific genetic makeup or your living situation, your environment overall, please feel free to call one of our outpatient dietitian service and have a whole hour to sit down with one of our registered dietitian. That way we can go over all of your needs and help you figure out your proper portion sizes just catered to you. Thank you for watching.